Hey, what's up everybody? And as we all know, the new season of Street Fighter 6 is here. The new patch 2.5, I guess we can call it, season 2.5, introduced a ton of changes. They said it was going to be a small patch, but it was anything but a small patch. Now, I'm sure most of you are very aware of all the changes that happened, so I'm not going to focus on the whole change list and everything that every character got in this video, but what I am going to show you are the most important things you need to learn how to beat, because a lot of characters have more options than they had before, so you can't defend against things you always did the same way. So I'm going to show you exactly what you should be practicing in training mode to make sure that you don't get hit by bad knowledge checks or new options from the opponent. So let's get right into it. So we got Zangief here. Let's look at one thing we need to learn against Zangief. As a universal system change, they took away the option to do, jump canceled SPDs, or jump cancel command grabs. Prior to this patch, Zangief could do a jump cancel SPD, and that would beat Ryu or any attacker if they were trying to do a throw. But every character lost that in this version of the game. Yeah, there we go. I inputted like a jump cancel SPD there. So they can't do that, which means if you're fighting against a Zangief with less than 3 bars, so he doesn't have his level 3 super, that means you can go really ham on your offense. So against Zangief, when you knock him down, you don't have to worry about the jump cancel SPD, so you can attack, go for meaty throws, meaty attacks. Zangief's defense is significantly weaker post-patch unless he has level 3. But if he has 2 bar or less, that means you can go ham on his knockdown, so remember that. No more jump cancel SPDs. Alright, so Kimberly. One thing that Kimberly got, which is really, really strong, is that her run cancels are different. So I'm sure a lot of you remember, back before this patch, generally what you were supposed to do against Kimberly, 4-frame jab pressure against her run cancel stuff. If she did stuff like this, you know, the general consensus as to how to beat her fake pressure, was to just jab everything, because none of it was a true string. However, that changed a lot in Season 2.5, because now I think she has 3 different ways that she can frame trap into her run. Standing medium punch, standing hard punch, and crouching hard punch. Now, crouching hard punch doesn't have a lot of range, so she's probably not going to be using this too often, but standing medium punch, pretty decent range, and standing hard punch has amazing range, so she's probably going to be going into it from that. So first of all, if she decides to run cancel it, she's -4 off a standing hard punch. Off a standing medium punch, she's -5, and then off a crouching hard punch, she's only -2. So you cannot just mash Shoryuken against this. You have to actually make a defensive choice other than just mashing on reversals. So definitely don't mash reversals if she's doing this to you. It's going to get you blown up. If you think she's going to go into the run cancel, you will get a punish for doing a jab. But it's risky because she can frame trap you for going for that option. So I think generally that what you're supposed to do against this is just block. However, the bad part about blocking is that there's kind of like a 3-way mix-up going on. This is what you need to learn. If she goes into run, she has 3 general options. She can do nothing, just let the run out. She can go into a punch follow-up, which is a command grab, and this will hit you standing and crouching. Or she can go into kick, which will hit you, but it's -8 on block, which means you can punish Kim for going for this option. So you kind of have to make a decision, but I'm going to show you guys there is an option select you can use to beat everything. It's not super easy. If you're on a leverless controller, I think it's fairly easy if you practice it for a few minutes. Just keep in mind, this is only for the regular run. This does not apply for the OD run, which has some slightly different rules. So what you can do is you can do a fuzzy jump. So the idea is you're going to watch the Kimberly player. And if you see her do a follow-up animation after the flip, you're going to want to try to time a jump. So basically after this, you're going to hold backwards, because if you hold backwards, you won't get hit by this dive kick. Then she's -8 and you get a nice punish counter. So generally your default option is hold backwards. But if you only hold backwards, she can blow you up with the command grab. So here's what you want to do. In slot 1 or 4, I have it in 4, you're going to want to record Kimberly doing standing hard punch into run, land, drive rush, into hard kick. It would look like this. Because that's what Kim players will do to beat you jumping. So Kim actually wants you just to jump backwards here. She gets a full combo off of it. I have a pretty basic dummy recording here, but trust me, if you just default to jumping, good Kim players will beat you with that drive rush option. So have that on in either slot 1 or slot 4. Then in slot 2, I want you to record run into dive kick, which is just the kick follow-up from this. Then in slot 3, you're going to record the command grab follow-up. Then what you're going to do is you're just going to turn on the kick follow-up, and you're going to practice holding backwards and then kind of tapping jump as soon as the kick would hit you. So watch my fingers. See, I got it in the inputs there. If your timing is right, this will dodge the command grab follow-up. Then what you're going to do is you're going to turn them both on, and you're going to try timing your jump to beat them both. So that's what you want to do. Then you're going to turn on slot 4, and what you want to do, you can either turn on slot 2 or 3 or both of them, and you want to try to only push jump if you see some kind of follow-up animation. So there was no follow-up animation. I didn't tap the jump button. Again, no follow-up animation. Don't touch the button. Then I'm going to turn these on. Let's see if I can see a jump animation. There we go. I pushed the jump. I blocked. My timing was off. No jump. Got it. Got it. So you just really want to try to watch the Kim player. I should be on the character. There you go. That's the timing. So that's what you want to do. If you practice that in training mode for a couple of minutes, that's going to make sure that you actually shut down all of Kim's options. All right, so next we got Honda. So Honda got a couple of really big buffs. Probably the biggest being this. So this is now +3 on block for Honda. This used to be +2. Now that's a big buff, but he also got a buff to his command grab. So this command grab is now 6 frames startup. It used to be 7. So the buff to the command grab startup frames and the buff to his pressure, his plus frames on block after this, have created a really difficult situation for the defender. So if he does this, because he's +3, a command grab, which is 6 frames, will be 3, which means if you push a button, that means an attack or a throw, the command grab will always win. All right, so here, I'm going to set Honda to doing this into immediate command grab. Okay, let's see what happens if I push a button. I got counter hit. All right, if I push throw, I get counter hit, so I can't throw there. Now, you might think, well, why don't you just jump? All right, so if you jump, you get full combo into Oki knockdown for Honda. Yeah, you could do a reversal against it, but if Honda decides to just block, I mean, you're going to be in big trouble from that. You're going to need a big combo. So, there's something you can do that's really easy against kind of like mid-level Hondas, and then this doesn't work against really high-level Hondas, but it'll work against mid-level Hondas. And my advice is to just... So my advice would be just... drive reversal his OD hands. It's going to help you out a lot in this matchup. But, like I said, good Honda players will be able to blow you up, and I'm going to show you why. So I think the general rule is, I would say, if the Honda player has less than 2 bars of super, do drive reversal. It's worth it. Because he's spending 2 bars to do this, and then you're going to lose 2.5 because of the chip. But the guessing situation afterwards is so much not in your favor as the defender that I think drive reversal is the best option. However, you have to be careful. There are a couple of rules about doing the drive reversal. You have to do it against the first hit of this OD hand. All right? Because if you do it against the second hit, you're going to be in trouble. There we go. So always make sure if you're going to do it, it's against the first hit. Because then Honda can't block it. But if Honda has 2 or 3 bars, a Honda player can option select a punish against that. So watch this. There, that's his level 3. So if Honda option selects, on reaction, they can basically buffer a level 3 super. And if they see you do a drive reversal, they can just push the punch button and it'll come out and it'll beat you. So if they have 3 bars or 2 bars, you can't go for that option, or you can't against good Hondas. There we go. That's it. So if the Honda player has level 2 or level 3 on deck, I would suggest just taking the mix-up off of this and not going for drive reversal. Because yeah, if the Honda player is good, they'll be able to beat you. Also, another thing you shouldn't do is jump back on block, because there's a really easy option select, which is a bit meter hungry it's a bit of a meter hungry option for Honda. But what he can do, if he thinks you're going to jump backwards, right? Let's say he goes like this and he thinks you're going to jump back, and he thinks you're going to block and he goes for throw, you jump back. You might think that the jump back is safe, but it isn't, because he can react to it with an OD butt slam. There, if he has charge, he has enough time to see you jump and react with OD butt slam, hold for it, and it'll hit you. So jumping backwards isn't really a great idea either. However, in terms of like risk reward, it's not the worst option, because this is very like drive meter hungry option for Honda. He has to spend 4 bar to go for that, and it's not a ton of damage. It's only 1,400. Yes, he gets Oki after, but you know, you're gonna have to use your risk reward to kind of see what you want to do after that. But generally, either you're going to block, do a reversal, or pick whichever is the least damaging option, which could be jump back into butt slam. Or on the first hit, you can do drive reversal, as long as Honda doesn't have 2 or 3 bars. That's going to really help you out. Ed. What changed with Ed? Well, first thing, his standing medium punch and standing medium kick recovery got nerfed. But now, if you have a button that's really good at whiff punishing, it's much easier to whiff punish Ed. So if you haven't spent time in training mode learning how to whiff punish standing medium kick and crouching medium kick, definitely do it, because even with Guile, I practiced this for like 2 minutes. Look what you can do. So the next thing you're going to want to practice against Ed, another nerf that he got, is this. So it's going to be much easier for you to do a drive impact against this. Now, he's not going to get a full crumple drive impact, but what you are going to be able to do is like option select his different options off of this. So if he does the kill step backwards, it's going to be much easier for you to get a DI. But if he's like just inside of your tip range, like just if he misspaces it just a little tiny bit, it's going to be much easier for you to get a DI against him. There you go. Now the reason why this is good is because if he goes for a follow-up attack and he lets it rip, you're going to be able to get a punish. And then if he goes for the OD version, you're also going to get a punish. However, just be aware that with the OD version, he can cancel into a super if he has enough bar on reaction to your DI and blow you up, but that's only if he has access to super. So if you weren't able to reach him before, definitely go into the training mode, figure out what your range is, because you'll also be able to beat that much easier. So it's a punish counter, which means I can link into a standing medium punch to get max damage on my punish. So if you don't know your punishes against Ed's quarter circle back OD attack, definitely check it out. It's -4 now, it used to be -3. Practice your best 4-frame attack into punish counter link, so probably something that's about like 7 to 9 frames with your character. Make sure you practice your max punish combos, and you'll be great if he ever decides to do that. Alright, so JP didn't get a ton of changes in this new Season 2.5, but there is one thing he got that's really important. So his level 2 super on punish counter, so I'm pretty sure the fireballs used to disappear if he got a punish counter throw on you, but now they don't anymore, so that's a huge buff. So before, generally what you would do, you would kind of just perfect parry all of this and just take the throw damage because it wouldn't be that bad. But now, this is what's going to happen if you try to go for the parry option. You're going to get punish counter thrown and the fireballs don't disappear, which means good JP players are going to do a really damaging combo against you. I don't really have any advice yet as to what to do against this. It's pretty strong. You just got to guess pretty much. I want you all to remember that if you do go for the hold parry option, a good JP player will try to throw you and get a combo on you. So just remember, if you were always going for the parry option before because eating the throw was the least damaging option for you as the defender, just remember now you're going to get comboed for it. So it's no longer the least damaging option. So you have to think a little bit harder about what you want to do against JP when you block that move. Alright, so this isn't really something you need to practice, but Chun got a bunch of buffs to her modern input, so she used to be very limited as to what she could do in stance as a modern Chun player, but now she has access to all of her moves, including her overhead. So this is overhead from stance. So before, if you fought against a modern Chun player, you never had to worry about the overhead option when she was in stance, but now in Season 2.5, you do. So you don't need to go to the practice mode, you don't need to go to the lab, nothing like that. Just know that if you're fighting against a modern Chun player, she has an overhead from her stance now. Just don't forget that, it's important. Alright, so Akuma got some small nerfs in this patch. I don't think it's anything huge. I think this character is still pretty good. One thing that you do have to remember, and you do have to kind of practice against, is this setup here. So he would go into this, and before, if Akuma went into an empty demon raid, he would be +2 and in your face in throw range. So it would be his turn. That was a kind of an Oki setup sort of thing for him. That still exists. However, the big change to Akuma's demon raid is that if he flips over you, the frame data changes. So basically what you want to do is you don't want to back tech against this. So see here, I'm not going to back get up. Now, instead of being -2, I'm +3 because he crossed over my body. So if you eat a punish counter, any combo from Akuma that kind of starts like this when he goes into a demon raid afterwards, you don't want to go into a back tech because you're going to be -2 if you do that. What you want to do is just get up in place, and then if the Akuma player decides to try to pressure you after, you're going to be +3, which means you can go for a throw. So if he goes for a jab or any kind of attack after that, you're going to win. So let's take a look. Here's what it looked like in a real match. If you go for a wake-up throw, because you're +3, you're going to beat him. And of course, if you push a button, you're going to win there too. So don't backtack against this setup. Get up in place. You're going to be +3. It's going to be much harder for the Akuma player. So because of Akuma's walk speed nerf, before, he used to be able to go into this and shimmy you. And even if you did an immediate throw, you would miss because Akuma's walk speed was so fast. But now, if you input an immediate throw after this jab, you'll be able to back throw him or forward throw him. He can't walk out of that range. So it's actually a pretty good option to go for an immediate throw here just to catch the Akuma player for trying to shimmy you. That's going to force the Akuma player to go for like frame traps, like something like a standing medium punch, like a delayed jab after, if you're always going for the throw option. But it's just one more thing for the Akuma player to think about. So doing an immediate throw after you block a jab after his drive rush cancel is actually a pretty good defensive option for you because Akuma's back walk speed nerf means he can't go for that shimmy to beat everything you do anymore. So definitely practice that if you haven't already. Alright, so Bison's Devil Reverse, the jumping attack, it is much easier to anti-air now. That did not used to anti-air that easily. So if you're fighting against Bisons who are always doing this move, just go into training mode for a little bit, figure out what your best button against this is, and you'll be able to get the timing. I'm doing it a little bit too early. Let me time this a little bit later. There we go. You can just drop it with a jab. So this is a really easy example with Ryu. Look how far away I was for that. That's just using a jab. Experiment with your character, figure out the best ways, but it's so much easier to anti-air Bison's Devil's Reverse with the punch follow-up afterwards. So if you had a really hard time anti-airing this move before, don't worry, it's much easier now. Just figure out what your best button with your character is against this move at different ranges, and it's going to be so much easier to anti-air him. Alright, so one more thing you're going to have to practice in training mode is against Ken. So they actually nerfed the pushback on his run standing hard kick. In the patch before this, there were a lot of characters, especially characters with really short range jabs like Juri, who couldn't punish this even from like point blank range. So pre-patch, Juri couldn't push crouching medium punch and punish that move. However, now, because they reduced the pushback on block, she can. So if you played a character with a really stubby crouching light punch, go into training mode, practice Ken doing this at point blank, because now, even if he does it up close, right in your face, you can punish it. So especially if you're a Juri player and you're watching this, rejoice, you get punishes now. I'm sure there are a couple of things that I probably missed. If I did, let me know in the comments what it was and what you should do against those things and how to practice defending against them. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel because it helps support me as a content creator and lets me know that you want more videos like this in the future. And as always, thank you all so very much for watching, and until next time, take care.